Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 48, another 7 curious interesting things I saw last week. So let's crack on. The first one is 12 foot. Now this is a paywall remover of all things. So if you go to your favourite news site, then you will probably be hit with a paywall. Type it into this website and it will show you what's behind that paywall. Now obviously there are two parts to this story. One is it's obviously creating a free and even internet where every piece of information is free, and therefore on the other side of that clearly it takes journalism and money and things like that to put this stuff there, especially if it's a non-and funded site. So depending on which part of that debate you're on, then discuss obviously. But there you go, that is 12 foot. So called, obviously if you show me a 10-foot paywall, I'll show you a 12-foot ladder is their thing. So this is really interesting how AI and sort of generative AI are creating quite a chains of things now. So this is actually from Ubisoft, and it's built on previous research, and this is just the new version of it really. So this is sort of gesture generation. So when I say it's sequencing things together, it starts with just written text. It turns that written text into speech synthesis, so it can actually also remake your speech if you train it as well. It will then create a character who can then talk and have gestures, and then it will then create these real-time gestures for you. So whether it be hand gestures or hip gestures or swaying, whatever it is. So it actually understands the text, the context of the text, and therefore creates these gestures. So you can imagine this being straight from a news article or something like that. It can generate a character that can maybe tell you the news, or even just from an article you're reading or a book or something like that. So likewise, if you're talking about computer games, then this can create NPC characters or sort of narrative-based characters as well that can just be controlled just through text. Takes a whole load of hoolah out the middle of that animating process. So there you go, quite interesting. This is Apple, who have for many years had their shtick was about privacy. So if you sign up to Apple, they've had big billboards about this and advertising campaigns. Now, some recent research over the last couple of weeks has showed two examples of where this might be a problem and not actually happening. There's a class action lawsuit about this at the moment. So the first part of this, if you've not been following this story, is that when you sign up to your Apple device, it says, don't worry, none of the collection of information identifies you personally. So you tick that and you say, I don't want my information sharing. And this is what Apple have been saying, we won't share it with anybody. However, they've been collecting all sorts of data on you. And Apple are also muted to be coming out with probably the second try they've had of an advertising product. So they are tracking you all the way through the process. They know where you're going, what you're doing. Now, it also turns out that the App Store is sending your unique identifier also back to Apple as well. So you won't go, oh, well, okay, well, who really cares about that? Well, obviously, where you've seen legislation in the US, which has made abortion illegal in most states, then, okay, well, if you're looking for apps that can circumnavigate that or for certain healthcare, then it's sending your browsing, your time of browsing, the apps you're browsing, it's sending that all over to Apple. So all of a sudden, it's not quite as private as you thought it was. So we'll watch that story as it develops, also the lawsuit. If you're in the quantum world, then, or if you're a normal person, this actually affects you. So this is post-quantum algorithms. Nothing to do particularly with actual quantum computing, so you don't need to worry about that too much, but really, really powerful quantum computers can crack today's algorithms relatively quickly. So how do you protect your data now against computers of the future? And that is what post-quantum algorithms do. So the National Institute of Standards and Technology in America has been running a competition for 6 years, I think it is, where people could actually submit new algorithms or new versions of algorithms to do one of two things: public key encryption and also signature algorithms as well. And they've announced, I think this is the third round, they've actually announced now that they've got these algorithms that are the sort of front runners, and you can go and have a look at those and download the code and stuff. So if you are looking to make your business quantum proof, then this is where you should be looking. So current algorithms will not cut it in the future. So it's, as I say, nothing to do with actual quantum computing as such, but if you run data services, if you run any sort of databases and private information, you should have this on your list for the next couple of years. If you're talking about big things or small things, then you'll be happy to know you now have two new SI prefixes, and these are the sort of scientific unit prefixes for really, really big things and really, really small things. So if you were in the olden days, you would use things like atto and femto, those sorts of things. Now, if it's a really, really big number, then convention says that it has an A after it, and if it's a really, really small number, convention says it has an O after it. So introducing the Ronna and the Ronto, and also the Quetta and the Quecto. So the Earth is about 6 Ronnagrams, which is 6 with 27 zeros grams. And if you're talking about the electron or the magnetic flux that stores 1 bit in a computer or mobile phone or something, that is 12 quectograms. So there you go. I think Jupiter is also 2 quettagrams. So there you go. When you'll ever be using these, I have no idea, but there you go. That's quite interesting. It's been about 25 years since we've seen any new SI units, so that's very exciting. New York has actually passed into legislation their anti-crypto mining law. Now, it isn't exactly anti-crypto mining, it's just putting severe restrictions on new licenses for companies that want to do crypto mining in New York State. So what this really means, and by the way, this is for environmental grounds. So this puts a 2-year restriction or a halt on permits for anybody who is going to be doing crypto mining that use proof of work as the sort of the main confirmation, basically. So proof of work needs a really, really gnarly sum to be done to prove a transaction is valid, whereas proof of stake is actually it's like 99.9992, I think, percent more energy efficient. So if you're using proof of work in New York State, you will not get a new license for the next 2 years. Obviously that sets a precedent probably for the rest of America. This is only in America at the moment, but there you go. So New York are on environmental grounds taking a stand against proof of work crypto mining. And finally, this blew my mind. Innovation comes in many, many forms. This is Ryan Williams from Australia performing the best trick at the Nitro Circus World Games this year. Just come out. So this, if you're not really sure what's going on here, this is a no-handed front flip into front flip. And this is not even, like, in my opinion, not even the gnarliest trick he did. But there you go. This is the one that won. And this is incredible. So well done. If you're into your trick innovation, this is your thing. Ryan, by the way, this is not even his main sport. He's usually a scooter tricker, but there you go. Well done, Ryan. That is amazing. That's it. Hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, give us a like, give us a subscribe, send it to a friend, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next week.